Felix No Matters. How you all doing? Today I've already done one interview about childcare, but now I'm going to do another one completely off the other end of the scale. I've got these two lovely people with me. Hello guys.
Hello.
Hi.
And your names are?
Jean Hart.
Robin Porter.
Hello guys, nice to have you here. And I believe that you are, well, two of the survivors of a great flood that happened here at some point. When was that?
It's 53.
53?
Yes.
And I heard that was a really, really bad flood.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was. Something you never forget.
No, I can imagine. How old were you when this happened?
10.
7 days.
7 days old?
I can't remember it.
Oh. Not a good start into the world, really.
No, it wasn't. Very lucky one though, as it turned
But a
out.
lucky one. So, it was the 53 flood. Whereabouts, like, was it all along the actual, like, front, or was it just
No, it wasn't the front.
Yeah.
It didn't come from the front.
Where did it come
came
from?
Over the back.
Over
The
the
seawall
back.
broke at the Dooley, I believe.
Wow.
We lived in Manwick Road,
Right.
and there's like a little dip in Manwick Road,
Yeah.
and of course that was where it was really deep there, because it was
Oh, so all the water just came.
yes,
rushing down.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
God. Wow, that'd be horrible.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
I mean, like, just obviously it's great that you survived it, but I mean, obviously that's something that you're always going to think about.
Never forget it.
No.
Never.
Even though I can't remember it in the first instance, it's been on my mind all my life.
Yeah, just how lucky you are, really.
Particularly with the beautiful memorial to those who died that's been put up in Felixstowe. It brings my mind to it every time I pass.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite a wonderful thing, really.
Yeah. See, that I think having the memorial there is quite a nice thing, really. It lets you know what happened.
It's the spot the water was the deepest, I believe.
Really. Whereabouts is that memorial?
It's in the corner of the children's playground there, Langer Road School.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Oh, I've always wondered what that was.
Yeah,
Is that what that
that's
is?
what it is.
Oh wow. I think that's really nice. I do. I've walked past that a few times. I used to live near it.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Lived in
We walked
Orford Road.
past all those times and didn't know what it
I
was.
know. But do you think that people in Felix though know what it is, or do you think they just walk past it?
Depends really. Depends where they come from, because it was all along the east coast, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
So some people, I should imagine a lot of people walk past it. Younger people would walk past it, and because you can't comprehend it, can you?
Yeah.
You know, it's just.
But that's what we aim for these shows. Well, that's what I aim for my shows. I don't know what the other presenters do, but I aim for my shows just because obviously, you know, I'm a younger person, and when people come in and talk to me about these sort of things, I don't know anything about it. So I want other kids to know about it as well. And it's not that we have to sit there and kind of like go and like sit at the memorial, but it's just knowing what it is and paying respect to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I aim for in my shows. So like what time did it actually hit, like the flood?
Well, I can't really remember. I know when I woke up it was dark,
Yeah.
so it was obviously, you
It
know,
was a night time.
Yeah, it was obviously night time. Yeah.
And whereabouts were you in the house? Like,
Well, upstairs in bed. My mum had given birth to Robin down in the front room, which is, in those days they had home births, and that's what they did. So my mum and dad were downstairs. I was in bed. I woke up I could hear my dad. No, I get it right. My father woke up with toothache.
right.
Raging toothache. So you could say that he saved our life, really.
Yeah.
Because he woke up with toothache. When he woke up, the water was obviously coming in the door.
Right.
Well, I woke up to my father saying it's the sea. Well, I ran downstairs. The water was up to here on me by then, and I tasted it. I put my hand in it because I thought, my dad, it's not the sea, it can't be, but of course it obviously was the sea.
Yeah.
And Dad was trying to get the door shut. Then they panicked, as you would do. My dad didn't panic. Dads don't ever panic, do they, really? And we're trying to get, because they brought a bed downstairs for Mum to have Robin in. So they were trying to get it up the stairs, and the chest of drawers up the stairs, but it had all his clothes in, all his newborn clothes.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to save my brother.
Yeah.
So of course I picked him up, took him upstairs. I was soaking wet. Got into, cold. Got into my bed with him. And of course Mum and Dad were still struggling downstairs, and suddenly my mum said, where's my baby, where's my baby? And I said, well, he's alright, Mum, I've got him here with me. And of course by that time it was just, it was nearly up to the top of the stairs. We had a curve in our stairs, and it was nearly up to the top of the stairs. But of course my mum, she wanted to go. She wanted to take us and go, but my dad said, no, you're not going anywhere. Because, good job he did, because if we had have left, we would have gone that way, and of course we would have drowned, because we thought it was all coming from the sea, but it was the sea, but it was coming in a different way. Coming in a different way. And of course, as you can imagine, it was a horrendous night. It was terrifying. I mean, you thought the world was ending, because it just the raging wind, water going past so fast outside was absolutely dreadful. And like I say, my dad said we'd all got to stay together, which we did. And then sort of as the night went on, a policeman, which I will always remember, I would love to have met him, but I expect he's probably deceased now. He went down the lane beside our house with his hands up in the air like this, and the water was up to there. Of course he was trying to get to the bungalow on the corner of St Edmunds Road, where the people unfortunately drowned, because their hands were out the window, out the roof, shouting for help all night, or crying and all that, which was absolutely dreadful. The policeman went down the road, down the lane, and I don't know what time lapsed then, but he then came back with a cut right across his face like this, but the water was down to there. So of course my dad said, it's going down, the water's actually going down. So, you know, we still all stayed together. And then in the early hours of the morning, we saw a rowing boat coming down the road. And I don't know whether it was the police or the firemen were rowing the boat, but my mother's doctor, Dr. Leslie Smith, he was in the boat, and he had been concerned about my mum being downstairs, having just given birth. So he came down in a rowing boat to see us. So of course they came in. The firemen carried my mum and I out to the rowing boat. My dad carried Robin out, and they rowed us away and took us to the Cavendish Hotel, which they had open for people, you know, that from the flood. And we were just looked after so well in there, but I was still wearing my soaking wet pyjamas, but I had my late brother Dave, I had his Air Force great jacket on, you know, they treated us very, very well. And what else? I can't remember now.
I mean, you must have like a really like amazing relationship with each other, like as in brother and sister.
Very close.
Well, we always have
Very
been.
close.
Yeah, you must be.
Always have been.
I mean, because I can imagine, like, obviously for you, because you can remember what happened, but sometimes it is hard to comprehend if you can't remember. But just to think that, like, you survived because of your sister.
Yes, it is. It's really something. It's a great, strong feeling. My father actually told me things about it when I was young. He said that he'd watched pigs and cows floating past the house in the moonlight, and it's always been something which sort of hung over me a little bit. When I was a child, I can remember the tide mark on houses just up below the bedroom windows, all down Langer Road, a tide mark on the houses. And my father told me that the houses were always very difficult to decorate because of the salt always coming out of the walls. The whole time it's always been there. It doesn't worry me, but it's a memory of some sort of memory.
I'd never want to live down there. I don't know how anybody.
We've never lived there again.
No, none of us have. No, none of us have. No.
But when they inaugurated the memorial, we actually parked the car outside the house that we were born in and walked to the memorial from there, which we thought was rather symbolic. That was a very moving night too, it really was. And it's strange for me, really, even being here today, because I can't remember anything, although I have some memories of the house after the flood. But being in my pram outside the back door, I can remember a tree at the bottom of the garden with the sun behind the leaves flickering, which for a baby was like a mobile, I suppose. But that's about it. And another occasion, I think a little after that, I can remember my sister at the top of the stairs screaming, and I learned in later years it was because there was a mouse in the house, but that's the only memories I have of Manwick Road altogether.
Right.
But
He always says I jumped 13 stairs, don't you?
I quite often walk past her with my dog and think about the place and what have you.
Yeah.
And it's strange.
Yeah, it must be. I mean, because like, obviously you were like probably one of the most vulnerable ones in the house, because you couldn't do anything to help yourself.
No.
But yet you still managed to get out of there.
Because it was coming in so fast, we just had to get upstairs. But like I said, we wanted to go, but my father wouldn't let us, which is a good job.
Yeah,
because
really.
we would have drowned for sure.
It's crazy to think about, really, because I mean, obviously people hear about it and they think, "Oh, it never happened to me. It never happened to me." But it does happen to some people.
There's always been that break on me when I've looked at some lovely houses along there and thought, no. Whilst I can't remember it, I had one go at the sea. I wouldn't do it again.
Really?
But it's just a personal thing. I mean, it's probably a great deal safer today than ever it was. But it's just that memory. Somewhere.
And are you like generally weary of the sea now?
No. I love the sea.
Really?
My father was Royal Navy. We were brought up with the Navy.
Oh, right.
So that overrides. I love the sea. I've got a great affinity with the sea, and that part of it doesn't really occlude on that at all.
No, I'm terrified of sea. I don't like water.
No, I love it.
The only thing with me, when we've had like the storms, I think we had one year, and the beach huts were floating in the sea, and we went down to bottom of, not Cobble's Point, I would mix the two up the other end.
Langer Point?
No, that is Cobble's Point. No.
Langer is the
down
one
to
by
the bottom of the hill
Orwell.
that leads to the sea, shall we say.
Yeah.
And it was really, really rough, the spray and everything, and there was beach huts floating out to sea, and all of a sudden I started to cry, and I said, I can't stay here, take me home, let's go, I can't be. And it really frightened me, but of course it was
in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Probably when I was 12 perhaps, we had flood warnings and what have you, and when I started work there's been flood warnings at night, and that kind of concentrates my mind a little too.
It makes you think.
But obviously the sea defences are far better now. Ultimately in it all we were very, very, very lucky because we survived and many poor souls didn't.
Yeah. But I think in a way, I mean personally myself, if it was me, in a way I'd feel as if, like, as you actually did have the luck to survive and you managed to do it, it's not so much a duty, but it's for you now to go down to that memorial and make sure that it's kept there.
It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we do.
It's Thanksgiving. And it is, isn't it? It's,
yes.
And still curious for me because I can't remember it, although I know it, but I can't remember it.
I think it's just like, it's quite a mad thing to think about, really, that you can't remember a thing, yet it's always there in the back of your head. It's something you can't quite grasp, but it's there. And I think that's what makes it that's what makes it difficult.
I can remember, again, as a very, very small child, the blankets on my bed had Ipswich Hospital printed on the blankets, and I didn't know why that was, but then later realised that was what we'd been given after the flood.
Really?
But I can remember Ipswich Hospital on the blankets, but I couldn't at the time, had no idea why that was.
Because we lost virtually everything, like a lot of people did, because the aftermath, the sewage,
it was worse.
We lost almost everything. But certainly never forget it ever.
No.
And
I don't even think I could cope with something like that. I'm terrified of water, terrified of boats.
Yeah, but my dad was there, so I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it's all right because Dad's here.
Yes. But I mean, one of my brothers was in the Air Force.
Right.
The other one worked in Colchester, and the other one, he must have been there because he went out in the morning in boats trying to rescue people, and he ended up in the Hermon Stern with hypothermia. Hypothermia. But but I can't remember him at all being there. So whether he stayed out all night with his mates, I don't know.
My mother told me they took his boots away, so he couldn't go out anymore.
Yeah, because they took him in for hypothermia, and he so badly wanted to get back out there. They had to take his boots and hide his boots away, so he couldn't go out anymore.
Wow.
But like I say, I can't even remember him being there, but I can remember that.
It's mad, isn't it, really, how the brain works? You'll remember certain things, but there's not quite enough there to piece something together.
No. Well, like I said, it's all in here.
Yeah.
But it was only when Bob and I were talking about it, he said to me, why don't you write it? Of course, once I started, it all comes out. It all comes out. But, but and like I say, the bungalow where the people died, I never go past there ever, even to this day, without looking at the tiles. You know, because obviously they're a different colour from the other. You can't go past without seeing it. You know, and I mean, for years I could still see the flood mark on the houses, couldn't you? You could still see the flood mark. So how anybody lives down there, but like say somebody like you as well, it's just history. You cannot comprehend. The same as that night we couldn't, because
it just seems
terrible
unreal.
Things seem to happen now in the world, but then somehow, probably because you're a child.
It was bigger because you were a child, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. But you know, it was terrible, and it's never forget it.
No, and it's always something like that. Like you said, seeing the beach huts in the sea, that's always a fear. It's going to be with you.
Yes, yeah.
But
I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was.
You won't ever
until
know.
It happened. But you know, as I say, like you're saying, people should know about it.
Always this time of year, you tend to feel it as well when it's cold.
Yeah, when it's cold and wet.
Yeah, because was it cold at sea? It was coldest thing I've ever felt.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't ever think that when people watching this now, they can watch it and they can sit and think, yeah, this is really interesting, but it's what are you going to do after this interview's done? Are you going to just forget it, or are you going to actually go down to the memorial, have a look? I mean, it doesn't take any of your time away.
No, it doesn't.
Just go down there and just think about it for a minute.
We do that.
We always do.
We do that.
Because horrible things do happen, and it will happen again and again and again. It's just if you can, you know, keep going with your life afterwards is what makes you a stronger person. And clearly you two have done really well. And you've come out from this, and I mean, being vulnerable, I mean, that must have got this, I mean, you clearly got such a great relationship together, like you're so close to each other, and it's just because you went through that at the beginning of life,
of course,
that now you've got each other for the rest of your life. So I mean, that's a lot of stuff to be thankful for.
Oh yes.
And just going down there together and just giving thanks to those who have sadly passed.
Yes.
For me, the memorial serves its full purpose in that every time I pass, I glance at it and spare a thought for those who didn't make it and those who lost so much more than we did. And that's really the purpose of it. It's the centre of a memory I don't have, but it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm so pleased it's there. It concentrates my mind so often.
Definitely. Because I mean, I always believe, because my mum told me that no matter how young you are, you always have you have feelings, but memory's hard to recollect. So you'll always have that feeling of you know about it.
Something.
There's something there. And to be honest, just because you can't recollect it and you can't see mental images in your head, doesn't mean that, you know, it's any less or any worse. It's exactly what it is, and just going down there and sparing the thought for them is the best thing to do for them, really.
Yes.
And sometimes the actual memorial service down there, it's so cold, isn't it?
Yes, as it should be.
Yeah, and it's just freezing, but that's how it was. But of course you were wet as well, you know, then. So it's, like I say, it'll always be with us. We'll never forget it. But, you know.
Makes you very thankful to be there too.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you have certain people that have come on the show and they don't get me wrong, they're lovely people and they do well for themselves and all that, but I feel that all I'm ever talking about is how much do you earn? What is this? How far have you got in life? How far? But to have people generally come on here and talk about a life experience and they're just thankful to be here. They don't care about anything else.
That's all that matters ultimately, isn't it?
That's really what I'm all about to interview for this show.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to learn about. I don't care how someone's doing in their business. I really don't. But to know about someone who's come through such an experience, to actually live through it, pick up their life, not just fall apart, but to pick themselves up and carry on, and to go down on that memorial there is really just because it's not anything. It's not much big to ask at all.
No, it's
you
not.
just walk down and look.
But like you say, lots of people go past, don't even know what
and they won't even look at it.
No.
But that's for what this show is. So if you do happen to go down there, just do take a look and spare a thought, because it's not taking any of your time, and people don't know about the stuff that has happened in this town alone, and it's happening all over the world. So just spare a thought for everyone. It doesn't take 5 minutes, and it's not taking any effort. I mean, I think personally you're both amazing to come through that, because I mean I can't say I've ever been through anything like that.
No, you don't want to either.
But to generally hear about people talking about it, and to be brave enough to come and actually talk about it on a live TV.
First time ever I've ever spoken of it.
It's crazy, really, to know that this is the first time you've ever spoken about it, and to be able to actually come here and speak to it, to a complete stranger, because you don't know who I am,
No.
and you just managed to speak to me about it. It really does show how strong you both are, and clearly when you're both together, then there's nothing you can't do.
No.
There's nothing you can't get through. I've really, really enjoyed talking to you both. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me about it. It's Felix, Flow TV. Do go down to that memorial and do spare a thought. Bye.